Hey everyone, it's Dr. E and I hope that you're having a wonderful day. I am truly excited and very honored to be able to share this message with you today. I want to thank you guys so much for responding to my last post on social media, whether that was Instagram or Facebook, that you guys wanted to hear this message of don't despise small beginnings. And I'm excited about sharing it because it really blessed my socks off. I promise you guys, it really helped me in where I was in my life. And I truly believe in me sharing this message, it will be a blessing for you also. And if you haven't already, make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, A New Me. I will be uploading more messages like this. The thing is, I really do get the opportunity to speak at different events. And depending on the events, I obviously pray about what the Lord wants me to speak about. And He gives me a message for that day or for that moment. And so unfortunately, unless it's recorded or something, I don't get the opportunity to share that again unless the Lord wants me to. But I do believe He wants me to. So if you guys really want to hear like past messages or even messages that I get the opportunity to speak at, and delivering a specific message that probably resonates with you, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section and let me know that you want to hear more messages like this, and I would be grateful to share them with you, okay? So let's just jump right into this. Don't despise small beginnings. All right, so I got the opportunity to speak at a small town. It's called Wolf City, Texas. Have you guys heard of that before? I have not heard of Wolf City in my adult life. And I say adult life because one of my teammates that I went to high school with, I'm from a small town, Naples, Texas. And she reminded me that we actually played Wolf City, I think in football or something like that. But I do not remember. So I'm going to trust her and not my memory. Okay, I'm trust her, not my memory. And let's just say I've never heard of this city before, because I haven't really. I have not heard of Wolf City before in my, again, adult life. Wolf City is a small town, and how I actually got connected to even speak at Wolf City is because I post things on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, as well as LinkedIn, inspirational messages or just some events or news about my upcoming events, products, and services. And if you haven't, or if you don't follow me, make sure that you do, so that you can continue to get those messages. But on LinkedIn, I posted some inspirational message, and I also posted a picture of me, and I was sitting on this stool, and I had these red heels on, and a lady had commented and says, "Oh my gosh, great message, but where did you get those shoes?" And so I sent her a message, a private message, and I let her know who's the designer. And actually my husband got me the shoes for Christmas last year. Well, she told me actually she saw the designer and she was like, okay, I have to get somebody else to buy these shoes for me. I'm like, yeah, that's how you do it. My husband bought these shoes, but not saying you can't buy your own shoes, but you know what I'm saying. All right. So, but anyway, she loved the shoes. And that was it. People comment, they compliment, and, I just think, just going about your life. No big deal. It's really, really nice to connect with her. So about a month later, she connected with me on some other opportunity in addition to this one, the Wolf City one. And all because of a pair of shoes, okay? Something so small that I would deem so insignificant. And we connected based on my shoes. And so she wanted me to come out to her church in Wolf City, Texas, and speak during their women's missions day. And I was absolutely ecstatic about it because I am from a small town, and because the small town Naples is very significant to me, I was just like, absolutely, yes, I will do it. And as soon as I said yes, what dropped in my spirit was don't despise small beginnings. And to me in that moment, it was very obvious. Okay, small town, small beginnings, got it, God. But little did I know, how God sets you up when you say yes, right? So I will explain that a little bit more later, but I said yes to it. And so I went to visit the scripture in Zechariah chapter 4, verses number 8 through 10. And you probably have heard this scripture before, but if you have not, I want you to write it down. Go to it right now. Zechariah chapter 4, verses 8 through 10. Okay. And I'm going to be looking down because I have notes and I want to make sure that I don't miss any points that I deem is relevant to this topic today. It says, then another message came to me from the Lord. Zerubbabel is the one who laid the foundation of this temple, and he will complete it. Then you will know the Lord of heaven's armies has sent me. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, to see the plumb line in Zerubbabel's hand. The 7 lamps represent the eyes of the Lord that search all around the world. Okay. Now, I don't know about you, but every time God gives me, I get an idea. Okay. It's a good idea, but sometimes my ideas aren't God ideas, but nevertheless, I get a good idea. And many times I do know that it's from him and I immediately get excited about it. Okay. And I get excited about it because I love new. All right. Maybe that's why the Lord allowed me to come up with a new me, because I do love new, but anything new requires maintenance. It's going to require a progress and a process. And we don't like the process, right? At least I don't. Okay. So I get this grand idea and I'm excited about it. And now I have to sit and think and about how it's going to be manifested. And so now it then becomes a daunting task. This now new idea that is, I consider huge and exciting. It's just like, ugh, okay, now I have to manifest this thing. And then you start having like insecurities kind of sit in like, okay, Lord, now how am I going to do this? So if you look at the scripture, Zerubbabel, see, the people of God are out of Babylonian captivity. And so Zerubbabel is instructed to build a temple. All right. So God gives me an idea. He gives me a purpose to do. And I call it building something. Okay. So my first question to you is, what is God asking you to build? What is he asking you to build? And it may not necessarily be a temple. Maybe he's asking you to build up people. Maybe it's a specific demographic. Maybe it's teens. Maybe it's women, a homeless population, sex abuse survivors. Whatever that is, God is asking you to build up someone. So if it's not a specific building, what is God asking you to build? That's my first question. The second question is, what is your foundation? Because in verse 8, Zerubbabel is the one who laid the foundation of this temple, and it says that he will complete it. Now, many times when God asks us to build something, the first thing that we want to do, or many times we're looking for someone else to build that foundation. Why do we do that? Maybe it's because we feel like the task is so great or the responsibility is so great, is that we want to put it off on someone else because we feel unqualified to do it. When God, in fact, has already called us to it. And if he's called us to it, he's qualified us to do it. But if we really sit and think about our lives, instead of allowing or wanting other people to build a foundation, if we sit and think about our lives, the foundation has already built. Think about it. Think about your circumstances. Think about the challenges that you have already overcome. See, Zerubbabel, though he was told to build this physical temple, he became qualified when he went into captivity with the Babylonians. In other words, what has held you captive in your life will soon be the foundation of your purpose. God calls. He calls you and he qualifies you. Maybe you didn't get a degree in what he's called you to do, but he still says that you are equipped for this, and you're looking for the foundation, and the foundation is already in you. So what is your foundation? When God tells us to build something, and he will tell us to build something, if we're connected to him, we all have a purpose in life. Now we are going to experience opposition. And that opposition many times is from the naysayers. They don't believe that you can do it. You know, they're not aligned with what you can do. Many people don't believe in your dream. They think you're crazy. Even you're going to feel that way about yourself. Those are the multiple oppositions. But the opposition that I want to talk to you today is the opposition of small. See, Zerubbabel, he was a little discouraged about the progress because the progress was small. And we think because we can barely see it, or we can barely see the process or the progress, we deem it as insignificant. And so our stinking thinking begins to sit in because now we're fully discouraged on this thing. But I want to take it a step further. If you were here with me today, you and I, we were conversing, and I had the opportunity to stand over you, what would your thoughts smell like? Stinking thinking. What would they smell like? Would they smell like a bed of roses? Or will it smell like garbage? See, when we have this stinking thinking mentality, we begin to smell like that thing. We begin to act like that thing. And now our entire atmosphere completely filled with the aroma of stank. Stinking thinking. Jesus says that we're going to know them by their fruit, the fruit of the Spirit, love, joy, kindness, goodness, self-control. Now that is the fruit of the Spirit. But when you talk about fruit in our thinking, what type of fruit are you manifesting in your thought process? So if you are feeling discouraged, which is going to happen, if you don't nip that stinking thinking in the bud, what's going to happen is that seed or root of discouragement will then turn into apathy. And apathy is like you're bored with this thing. Nothing is really happening. It's too small. So I'm bored, and now you become distracted. You start distracting yourself from the building process, and you should be focusing on building. And so when that apathy sits in, guess what's going to happen next? Now you're going to want to quit altogether. So do you see the progression in your thinking? If you think that something is small and insignificant in your life, you become discouraged in that thing, and then you become apathetic in that thing, and then you will want to quit altogether. Do you ever feel like that? Or maybe you're feeling like that right now, that you just want to quit. Like, Dr. E, I just want to quit on life right now. My life does not matter to me. This progress that I'm doing, this business that I'm doing, all that what I'm doing right now is so small and insignificant. I don't see any progress. Well, trust me when I say I could definitely relate to what you're talking about. See, my testimony is back in February when the Lord dropped this in my spirit, don't despise small beginnings. I thought it was something obvious, small beginnings, small town. But little did I know 2 weeks before me delivering this message that I would want to quit everything. But God, He knew that I would feel this way. And so He was really setting me up. He was setting me up to receive this word and to be able to deliver this word. So that's my transparent moment, is that I really want to quit. And my personality is I'm such an overachiever. Okay. I love to achieve things and I thrive on success. But the problem is many times when I complete or receive a certain success, I'm like, okay, now what's next? My last major successful opportunity, I would say a huge win, is to be able to speak on a TEDx platform. And if you don't know, Google TEDx, okay, or Google TED Talks. On YouTube, they have over 19,000 subscribers. So to be able to share your idea or message to the world is a huge opportunity. And I had the opportunity to do that. But afterwards, I was like, okay, God, what's next? And the Lord was looking at me like, girl, okay, really? You're just gonna let this other stuff that I want you to do fall to the wayside, right? Because it's not getting the responses that you want, or the progress is you can barely see it. So now you want to abandon this temple, this construction over here, and start a whole new building. See, many times God won't give us something new to build because we haven't even finished building what He told us to build last week or last year. You want that next new thing because you're comparing yourself to someone else's successes. But the reason why that they're experiencing their newness on a continuous basis is because they knocked out the last temple. They knocked out the last building. They were able to complete that thing that God had told them to do. All right. And so for me, I'm like, if it's not getting a response, or I'm started to compare myself with other people, now I become distracted and I'm not focused on what God has told me to do. So if that is you today, when small is your opposition, I want to encourage you to redirect your focus. Redirect your focus. And so if you look at verse 10, it says, do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin, to see the plumb line in Zerubbabel's hand. The 7 lamps represent the eyes of the Lord that search all around the world. The Lord rejoices to see. Do you see that? 7 lamps represent the eyes of the Lord. 2 Chronicles 16:9, it says, for the eyes of the Lord roam to and fro all over the earth to show himself strong on behalf of those whose heart is fully devoted to him. So when you say yes to God's work, to building, it's a verbal contract that you are fully devoted to him. But what happens is that devotion begins to minimize and decrease because you're not seeing that huge progress. It's too small. And so when I read this scripture, it hit me. Oh my goodness. I'm looking at the wrong eyes when I should be focused on the eyes that matter the most. God's eyes. He sees the works. He sees the work in my hands. Zerubbabel, the plumb line, something small, something so small that it can fit in your hand. And yet and still, we look at it as insignificant. But God is saying, I see that thing that is in your hand, and I'm going to rejoice over it. That is great news. So you need to redirect your focus on who's seeing what. If you're seeing through the wrong eyes or even your own eyes, or you're waiting to get the eyes of other people's affirmations or acceptance or opinions and applaud you, that's not going to happen all the time, okay? Let me just say that the eyes that you need to focus on are the eyes of the Lord. And here's the beautiful thing that I also found, that even if you're in the opposition of small, should always lead you back to him. See, God tells us to build something. He gives us a purpose, but many times we begin to idolize the purpose or the temple, and we forget the one who told us to build it anyway. So all of your challenges should ultimately lead you back to him, because in God, that is where you experience that true fellowship. That is where you get your strength. That is where you get your focus. That is where the distractions begin to be removed and burn off. And now you can focus on the main thing, which is him. And he's going to give you that heart of humility so that when you do build that temple, you won't forget him once it's completed. You're going to be like, God, help me to build this temple. He is the one who purposed me. He was the one who strengthened my hands and my heart to be able to build this temple. So God sees you. He sees the works of your hand, whether that's a small progress, whether you may feel that it's insignificant. God sees. His name is the God who sees. His name is El Roy. And if you don't know, read about Sarah and Hagar. And Sarah actually sent Hagar away. I'm not going to get into it, but go and read it. And Hagar became very discouraged. She felt alone. She was in the desert. She was in a wilderness place. But guess who met her there? God. It says that God saw her. He saw that she was lonely. He saw that she was just trying to do the right thing. And though somebody else, the opposition that she experienced was Sarah pushing her away, telling her that she should go live somewhere else and quit. God says, don't you dare give up. My promise is up on you as well. So God's promise is up on you. He sees where you are in the building process, and he wants you to continue. So don't despise. Don't hate it. Don't minimize. That's what despise means, to hate something. You are at the place to where it's just like, I hate being here. Trust me, I have been there, and I had to redirect my focus. Like, wait a minute, this is not even my purpose that I've placed within my own life. The thing that he started, he's going to complete it. He's going to finish it. I promise you, he's going to do it. So brick by brick and day by day, develop that discipline, develop that strategy that you need, and always partner with God. And even though it may be small right now, start where you are, because God sees that and he's going to rejoice over that. Don't put those blinders on, okay? Just like the horses when they're at the Kentucky Derby, they have those little blinders on to keep them focused on looking straight ahead so they won't look side to side and they won't crash into another horse. They're so focused because they're in their lane. You can't crash if you're in your own lane, right? All right, so don't despise the small beginnings. Even if you feel like your prayers are insignificant, you don't feel like there is a way out, Jesus says he is the way, the truth, and the life. And begin to believe that God can restore your marriage. Believe that God can bring that wayward child back home. Believe that God is going to be able to increase your finances by increasing your financial literacy and wisdom. Begin to open up your eyes and see whose eyes really matter on this thing that God has called you to do. And I truly believe that he is going to complete it. Just like Zerubbabel, it says that the foundation was built, and it says that Zerubbabel is the one to complete it. What is God asking you to build? What is your foundation? When your opposition is small, redirect your focus on the right eyes, and that's his eyes. And so I needed this message when the Lord gave it to me, and he made those provisions for me. Jehovah Jireh. He will make those provisions for you. He will give you what you need when you need it, through who you need it from. He's always done it in my life, and I truly believe that he's going to do it in your life. So if this has blessed you, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Make sure that you tag and you share with someone who is going through a very discouraging period because they're in the beginning building phase of that temple, of that purpose. And just help them to redirect their focus and eliminate that stinking thinking so that God can begin to do a great work in their lives like he's doing in your life, like he's doing in my life. Okay, so I hope this message has blessed you. Don't despise small beginnings. Make sure that you subscribe. And again, if you want to hear more messages like this, let me know in the comment section, okay? And I hope that this will continue to encourage you on your journey towards embracing a new me. Thank you. Until next time.